in plants, so that the medium is then telling you about your granny. But anybody on the other side, everybody on the other side knows what's going on. They're not going to be giving you, it's just so wonderful over here. Nobody would.
Now let's talk about the reptilian history with Earth humans. You say the reptilian race from Orion has been here for thousands of years and maybe longer, at first presenting themselves as the gods and then using their technology and genetic know-how to manipulate the human race for their own ends. That, it seems, involves using the human being as a food source, an energy source, a plaything, a slave, and a marketable item. So initially you say that, as well, you mentioned the reptilians are physical beings and do have physical bodies, but these, it appears, are kept in a storage place once they arrive here, while they encase themselves in a physical human form to operate behind the scenes. They have mastery over the fourth dimension, which for us is the world of dreams and astral travel. This is everything that we've been taught it's not.
Right. Yeah. They come here. Now, Roger was the one who, because he's had so many encounters with them, watched them deplane. He watched them get off. He was taken astrally to, actually he was, I don't know if it was astral, but he said that he saw them coming in from the homeworld, that they would have on these sort of, almost like latex costume faces, and they would use these while they're in transport, I guess not to get anybody's attention. They have physical bodies, which they may keep on when they're underground or in these spaces, because people have said they've seen reptilians. That's when they're in the physical. But they found that if they can take off, get out, step out of their physical body, step into a human physical body, they can operate here behind the scenes, controlling and manipulating without any problem. So that's really how they do it.
You said also that the reptilians found the planet in the Sirius system.
Yes.
What do you know about that?
All I know is that I've heard this about 5 times, that there was an inhabited planet in the Sirius system, and there are Syrians here who are also in this fight, but they said that is fouled and uninhabitable. That the aliens or the owl fouled that planet.
Do you think there's a possibility that the metaphor, the wolf, relates to Sirius, the dog star?
I know you mentioned that. I don't know. I never thought about it. I just always thought that it was having to do with them.
Reptilians, okay. Now you talk about the Owl's Opera. What is the Owl's Opera?
The Owl's Opera is this great theater that we have going on out here.
And it initially occurred because there was an invasion by a very advanced race from Orion, that being the Reptilians?
Yeah.
How long ago did that happen?
I don't really know how many thousands of years. They've been here for a long time.
And what was Earth like before they showed up?
It was supposedly, I've heard, it was beautiful. It was, one woman called it my Eden. You took away my Eden. We, as a species, the human race, was evolving on this beautiful planet just wonderfully, but naive enough to when these gods came, so-called, and they wowed everybody with their technologies, and then they started this whole thing. So, every culture has its gods and goddesses, the Greek gods and all these different Sumerians, and I think, but it was after the last passing of the planet X with the great flood stories that are all over, that's when they decided not to come back in their own, or in a physical form. That was when the decision was made to come and be cloaked within human beings, so that, because all of a sudden there are no gods. Now all of a sudden we're sort of left on our own, but we're not. That's when they decided to use the cloaking of humans.
So have the reptilians been involved in the Lemurian or the quiet invasion of Atlantis?
I don't really know that. I can't seem to get much information about Lemuria or Atlantis. For some reason, I just can't seem to get that.
Now, what do you think about the paradigm on planet Earth of slaughtering animals for food? Where does that come from? Is that a reptilian philosophy?
I think so, but it just doesn't seem right, because too, they have consciousness, And, I eat a little bit of meat, but I don't feel good about it. But the one thing I will say that for the most part, humans don't torture the animals before, at least I hope not. They're not raping the animals while they're sending them to torture. They're not purposely torturing the animals' children in front of them while they're raping those animals while they're sending them to be killed. You know what I'm saying? This is
a level of perversion.
This is a level of perversion you can't even imagine.
You say there were advanced reptilian geneticists that manipulated human DNA. Is that your, or am I confusing that with somebody else?
I think that's probably true, but I don't know that.
You haven't heard it in reverse speech.
It's hard to get that kind of technical information.
Now, tell me if you have a problem with any of these statements. Reptilians mated with human women to create bloodline families.
That's probably true.
Ike material. Reptilians leave the reptilian bodies in storage when they come here.
I think that's true.
Reptilians survived the last time Planet X passed.
They left. They loosened the net as the planet made the passage. Then they sent down their minions to check out the situation. And once things settled down, they came back. That's what I heard in reverse.
And that reptilians set up all the political, religious, and financial structures on Earth.
Yes.
You said in your final posting on your website, there are those here who were brought down while trying to help and have been stuck in the reincarnational cycle. They have had their memories wiped and are just plugging along like most of the planet. I think the difference is that those from elsewhere are always trying to figure things out. They are not really comfortable here. They, all of you I would suspect, are on these types of websites reading voraciously different esoteric books, whether religious, metaphysical, UFO, paranormal, etc. There is the feeling that something is wrong and they're always seeking answers. So how did the reptilians put up this net, or this net technology? Do you have any information about that?
I don't really have that much information. It's layers. It's not just a net. This is layers. I think this, one inside of the other.
The Chinese box.
Kind of that way. I know it's, I heard it referred to as the Martian net, so I think that this extends all the way to Mars. And I know that they use wormholes and portals in order to transport body parts and what have you from energy points here, probably portals or energy centers, which are there connected to wormholes. They use those to transport to Mars and to Orion. That is the one place that they're most vulnerable because they're not real. They're sort of outside of the net in a way. So they were furious when I heard that, and I talked about it to the recorder, by the way.
Now, you say reptilians want to keep us endlessly shut down, fighting amongst ourselves. How does that help them?
Well, we never turn around to see who's creating the mess. And we just keep fighting each other.
And you also said we cannot create our own reality right now because we are inside the matrix of the net. Mm-hmm. Does that give you a hopeless feeling, or what can we do if we can't create our own reality right now?
Well, I don't have a hopeless feeling because it's still changing. If I thought this was going to go on forever, because I know what their agenda was. Their future agenda was to microchip everybody, to have certain people set aside as slaves, the rest were in concentration camps and as a constant food source. And then they would probably alter the environment so that it would be comfortable for them because they're blind in the sunlight, can't see in the sunlight. So that would have been our future. A total slave, lockdown slave planet. Now, if I didn't know that Planet X was coming in to shred the net, being sent by God, the Creator, and if I didn't know that this whole reality was changing, I probably wouldn't be able to get out of bed in the morning because it would be so depressing. But as it is, I am very, very hopeful that this is going to change and we're going to be rescued from this mess.
What if the fourth dimension, the lower astral, was someplace in the solar system, physical frequency we couldn't see, like on Mars or on Venus? Do you think that's possible?
Well, I think that you can't see them on, like the fourth dimension is on Mars. There probably is a fourth dimension all over, just like 3 dimensions. And they operate on Mars in the fourth dimension. They're not physically there on the planet. They're there interdimensionally, I believe.
So when you talk about spirit people leaving their body,